nervous about the money or it not selling, more just like Alissa flipped a house and it didn't sell because she made bad choices.
Right. Oh my gosh.
He was just like, oh, blue, this is
blue.
good.
She likes azul. Blue. Great. Okay. I feel like judged.
You were like, bye, house.
Yeah, I was like, okay, bye.
See you later.
Hi, y'all. Welcome to Hustle Humbly. It's Alissa and Katie, and we are two top producing realtors in the Baton Rouge market.
We work for two different companies where we should be competitors, but we have chosen community over competition.
The goal of our podcast is to encourage you to find your own way in business.
So stop comparing yourself and start embracing your strengths.
Hi, Alyssa.
Hey, Katie.
How are you?
Good.
It's episode 136.
Do.
The flip report.
The flip report.
The final,
for the last time.
Final flip report. I'm really sad.
I know. It's so strange.
I think the people are sad too.
Yeah.
I brought you a gift for your final flip report.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, it's right here in a bag. Before you.
Oh my gosh.
Look, I'm going to put mine on for YouTube.
Oh, wow. We actually got them.
So you guys, we got a shirt. And
it's so soft.
Kayla Fox designed this.
Do,
And
do, 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 do,
she's
do.
so good. Like, I did wash this. This is just dog hair from my house.
I love it.
Is it not the best?
That is the cutest thing.
So you guys will all get a chance. If you want to own a Flip Report shirt, you can.
Oh my gosh, this is so
we'll
cute.
put it in the show notes, but it's just, Hustle Humbly Podcast.store.
Okay.
And then you can get everyone can have a Flip Report shirt.
I just love the little do.
Do you like that it's navy? I did that on purpose since it's the Navy house.
Yes. That's amazing.
I love it.
Thank
Okay,
you.
you're so welcome. I'm so excited about this. So
Wonderful.
all along I have thought, okay, I really want to get this all into one
Yes.
place.
I think that would be
because
helpful.
it is logistically difficult if you just wanted to know about the flip and then go back through all these episodes.
Well, it's good too because since we've closed, I've had a lot of people message me say like, I would love to just talk to you about flipping, and I'm like, well, it's kind of hard to tell them. Go listen to the first 10 minutes of every episode.
Right, that's, like I said, logistically not possible.
Not going to work out.
It's not going to work out. Okay, so let's just begin from the beginning.
Okay, because at this point, it is done.
You're done.
I sold it. It
Cash
is
in hand.
closed. Out of here.
Okay, love it. So tell us, go back to the beginning and tell us how you found the house, because I don't know about everyone, but our market, it's pretty much impossible to find a good
house,
flip,
yes.
right?
So years ago, probably 7 years ago, I bought my first investment property.
Okay.
And it was this lady who knew my uncle that inherited this house. So she called me and I bought it.
Okay.
Haven't really talked to her since then. 7 years later, she calls me, and it's funny because her name popped up on my phone, and I was like, I know that name.
But you couldn't even remember.
I could not place it. And she
Oh,
said,
wow.
I don't know if you remember me,
You're like, I sure don't.
but you bought the house I inherited on George Street. And I was like, yes. Oh my gosh. And she said, okay, my husband's sister is going into a retirement home.
Okay.
We have her house in that area. We need to sell it. We've been doing our best to clean it out. We're very overwhelmed at the clean out process, but we need to get it sold.
Right.
She said, would you like to buy it like you did the other one? And I said, no.
No, thank you.
I'm just not really looking for another rental right now. And she said, okay, well, would you come look at it to help us sell it? So I said, sure. So I pulled up to the house and I see this tree.
And then you were in trouble.
And I was thinking, oh my gosh, look at this solid brick house, this beautiful tree, great location. And I walked in and it was certainly dated, but it was so well maintained. The floors were pretty wood floors. I just all of a sudden thought, I'm in trouble because I knew I didn't want another rental at this time just because I'm not certain like what direction I want to go in. My cabin, the cabin we have in Tennessee, it's a Airbnb that we rent out, makes substantially more than any of the rentals I have.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to buy another rental right now. So it just wasn't in the plan.
Yeah.
But I thought depending on the price, I haven't flipped a house in 5 years. So
Okay.
this might be
let's
a good
revisit revisit that really quick. How many houses previously have you flipped? And how did you feel and how did they go quickly? Not like we're not going to get deep into it.
Yeah. Okay, so the first one I did when I had just started real estate, and I did it with my dad. I did not have the funds to do it myself, so we split it, and I just managed the project, and it went well. This was in probably 2013.
Okay.
And then in 2016, while I was pregnant with Haven, I flipped a house on my own, but my funds were very limited. And so I couldn't replace the kitchen cabinets that needed to be replaced.
Okay.
I went with a cheaper flooring than I should have for the area.
Right.
So there were just things that I did, and it didn't take long to sell, but it did have a lot of showings with a lot of feedback, negative feedback.
That you didn't do.
And
what
I
you needed to
hated
do.
that process because then I was stressed and wondering if I made a mistake. It did sell and it did okay.
You made money off
I
of
made
it.
money. I made like 25, okay, on that one. And then the third one I bought I went to list it. It had tenants in it that didn't want to leave, and the house was in distress. It needed work. But the tenants did not want to leave. So I thought, well, I'll just buy it and let the tenants stay until they get out. And so they stayed for a year. And then when they moved out, I renovated it and sold it.
So it wasn't really a straightforward flip.
No.
It was a rental and then you renovated but you sold it.
I did sell it.
Okay.
And it went fine.
And that was always your intention when you bought it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And so that one did fine as well.
So 3 previous.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is number 4.
Wow, you're like becoming an expert.
I know. It's weird. I never even really thought about that.
That's a lot.
I know.
I mean, over your career, that's like one every other year.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's about how long it takes to
Get it done?
get a deal.
Okay, so you say, I'm in trouble. What's next?
So I start asking them about numbers, and they're an older couple, and they're very overwhelmed with emptying the house. And so they tell me plainly that they would like this to be quick, but they're overwhelmed. So I ran some numbers and I called her back and I said, listen, if you want to get it on the market, we can do it as is. I think we could ask like maybe 185, maybe 190 because the market's crazy as is, but you're going to have to empty it and we're going to have to get the yard cleaned up. And I'm telling you the AC is going to be a problem. So I don't know because the AC I think was 31 years old.
Okay.
It was working well actually, but I said it is going to be a problem during the inspection. Or I will pay you $140,000. We can close next week. You don't have to empty the house. I will have my contractor remove everything. You can just walk away.
And no commission.
No commission.
Okay.
No AC.
Mm-hmm.
Just
leave it.
Leave it.
Hand me the keys.
Yes. And she kind of was like, okay, let me talk to my husband. And she called me back and was like, yes, we would love to do that. And they were very happy with it.
Great.
So
I like that you were very transparent with them.
yeah.
So they knew what they could have sold it for.
Yeah.
They knew that, they could see the actual dollars amount that was for their headache, right?
Right.
So here's the amount of money for the headache to sell it that you might make, or you can just hand me the keys and be done.
Yes.
Okay.
So at that time, I had my dad measure it. He's the appraiser because I wanted to make sure the size, and it was a bigger house. It was over 2,000 square feet, but it's only a 2-bedroom.
Right.
So initially, in my preliminary research, I was thinking because it's a 2-bedroom, like 269, 279 was going to be my
List price.
my ballpark
Okay.
end of the day list price. And so I felt like those margins were good. I had a budget. I was going to try to put 60 into it, and that was going to be my goal.
Okay. So is there a margin percentage that would have made you say, no, not worth it? Like what, you know what I mean? Like what was the number?
I think making less than 30,000
is not worth
is
your
not
time.
worth it.
Okay. So
And
it's more of a number to you than a percentage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because to me it's, I don't know.
That makes sense.
That was just kind of my number.
No, that makes total sense.
And I also felt like I couldn't lose.
Right.
Like in this situation, even if I didn't make 30, I wasn't going to lose. And if something terrible happened, it would be a great rental if I had to.
Right. Even
so
if
it
you
was just
stopped
very low
midway,
risk.
you could have sold it.
Yeah. Okay. So my dad said, okay, so you want to have like 200 in it, and then you want to list it for like 269, and like then you're going to pay commission. So like, why don't you just do nothing and just empty it and sell it for 195?
Right.
And I was like,
it would have been the same.
I was like, oh gosh, you just like totally burst my bubble.
Right. But why didn't you do that?
Because I thought I was excited about doing the project. I was buying it for the project and to make this house.
You wanted to bring it back to life.
I did.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I still think I would make more. And I did.
I think
So
when
it
we
worked
talked
out.
about it previously, too, it felt like you also had some ethical concerns about the seller finding. Like,
Yes.
that was
yes.
not how you didn't buy it from them with that intention. So if
Right.
then you then turned around and just sold it, it would feel like you had kind of,
Gypped them.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I do think the AC would have
But still been an issue.
still been an issue.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it wouldn't have.
Okay. So
out.
did it take a while to close? I feel like I remember it was fine. Everything goes well. You financed it or
I paid cash for it.
okay.
And so it was just a very quick sale. I bought it, and then we immediately started work. And my contractor is just, for anyone listening to this podcast, please don't email me asking me, can I have your contractor's name? Because he was fine, but I'm not sharing his information. He was someone that I do work with regularly. He does not speak the best English. So we did have some communication issues combined with me not liking to be a micromanager.
Yes.
And so I could not have done this whole thing without Whitney, my assistant.
Right.
Because she likes the design part. And so
Right.
she would go by. She came with me when we had to pick out all the tile and colors and flooring and everything. We drove to New Orleans and went to the big warehouse
Good old,
place.
the floor decor. and more.
Yes, yes.
We're getting one.
Yes, I can't wait.
I know. It's under construction. Okay. Back up though.
Okay.
Before you close, you brought the contractor to the house and got a pretty firm price.
Okay, so I made an Excel spreadsheet itemized list of the things I wanted done. And I brought him and we walked through, and I gave him a copy of my blank Excel spreadsheet. And I said, I want a number next to each item.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what some of those items were.
Okay. How many inspection days? Because, I think that there is a little bit more due diligence when you're buying a flip. But at the same time, if you're an investor, things move fast,
Yeah.
right? So did you just do a normal inspection period and he had to get over there and you had to just be on top of that list quickly?
Yeah, it was very casual because
Okay.
the sellers were like, just let us know where we need to be. And
Right, they didn't.
They didn't really.
It wasn't, right.
I had an inspection period. I didn't have a formal home inspection.
Right.
The reason I did not have a formal home inspection is because I knew the roof was new. I knew I was going to be totally replacing the AC.
Right.
I knew I was going to be totally gutting the bathrooms.
Right.
I did a visual of the foundation, and
You weren't
could
worried.
tell.
There wasn't anything that you
No.
felt like someone needed to check before you got in there.
No, because
Okay.
I'm going to be ripping it all out.
Got it.
And as long as the big ticket items were fine, it was fine.
Got it.
So I just had, the bathrooms on there, the kitchen, new kitchen cabinets, opening up some I didn't remove walls, but I did open up casings to be much bigger than they were.
Right.
That was one big thing, is that I really wanted it to be an open floor plan, but their utility closet that has the AC and the electrical panel was in the middle of the house.
Right.
There was no way to go around it, but it came out. It really worked out in the end. So to dress up the fact that I couldn't make it open, we just added really pretty beams to every doorway. So I had him put prices next to like new floors in the kitchen, doing the bathrooms, removing the sunroom tile ceiling. Those were like the main things on his list. And so his initial estimate came out to be $42,000.
Okay.
I was very pleased with that number. And
Because your budget was in the 60s, right?
Right.
Okay.
But that doesn't include the appliances that
Got
I
it.
would have to pay for.
Mm-hmm.
I had already gotten a start on ordering the windows because windows were behind.
Right.
The windows were $9,900, so $10,000.
Okay.
So after appliances and windows, I'm kind of at 60.
You were at it. Yeah.
Pretty much. So I was like, okay, well, that is everything I wanted to do.
Right.
And I knew it would.
That was the budget.
Yeah, that was the budget.
Okay.
So.
And tell us about your budget, because you mentioned it before. How much do you keep for emergencies, and did you touch your emergency money?
So I always budget like 10% or $10,000.
Okay.
Whichever one is higher. For surprises.
Okay.
We didn't really have surprises because I had budgeted to renovate everything.
Yeah.
The AC cost $8,000 to redo the whole thing, inside, outside unit, heater, and air.
Okay.
So everything together, it didn't really go over. Now, that being said, once I realized as we were farther along, really once the beams went in and I walked in and saw the beams, I thought we're going to get way more for this house.
Okay. The beams were the twinkle lights of the house?
Yes. Like I just walked in and was like, oh my gosh, this just feels. And I had been showing houses in that price range a good bit to some buyers and thought, never. They would never get this.
Right.
And then Whitney was like, Alissa, you should list it for like $350. And I said, no, it's a 2-bedroom. It is impossible.
Right.
So that's kind of where my dilemma was now the house is starting to come along and we're reevaluating what we can get for it. And so when I ran the comps in the area, price per square foot said $350, $360 all day long.
Right.
But like the highest 2-bedroom sale that was renovated was like $305, but it was 1,600 square feet.
Okay. Tell us why you didn't make a 3rd bedroom.
There was no way to do it.
Okay.
I looked into it. There was no place to do it. And then what confirmed it was when the house was pretty far along, the neighbor had a friend who wanted to see it. And she went when my contractor was there one day. And it turns out that, so he said, oh, here's the owner's number. So she called me and we actually knew each other. I had gone to school with her daughter we went to church together. So I knew her from church.
Okay.
So she tells me she was looking to buy and she loved it. You know, she's like, I don't need anything huge, but I do want 3 bedrooms for when my kids come back to visit.
Yeah.
So she went to the house several times. She brought her own contractor to look at adding a 3rd bedroom. And at the end of the day, it was not feasible. So I thought, well, at least I didn't think it was feasible.
Right.
And then I also got to where I was kind of thinking of her like as a buyer.
And that was not a good thing.
I wouldn't advise you to do this. Like I wouldn't advise you to add a 3rd bedroom here.
Yeah.
I would advise you to buy a 3-bedroom house if you need a 3-bedroom house.
Right.
So it did not work out for her. But for a minute, I thought I had it sold because she was so interested and she loved it so much. And she brought all of her friends and family by. And she was there all the time.
Do we still suspect that she might have pushed that contractor to put that fence up where he didn't? Where you did not tell him to put the fence up?
I don't know how that ever came to be. I feel like he just is like, this needs to be done. I'm just going to do this.
He made an executive decision. Okay, so tell us about your working relationship with the contractor and like what were the struggles or what was good? Like tell us how that went.
He is a wonderful person that does not speak good English. I am not the best communicator when it comes to fine details and micromanaging. I did not go by the house as much as I should to check on things.
Okay, let's also clarify. The house is not close to where you live.
No, it's not close to where I live.
It's a solid 30-minute drive,
it's a
probably.
30-minute drive.
Okay, keep going.
So there were things that came up. For example, the kitchen cabinets were not supposed to be blue.
That's why our shirt is blue. The house outside is blue. What was the other thing that ended up blue? Oh, the soffit fascia, the trim outside.
Yes, the trim outside was blue. Everything was blue.
He was just like, oh, blue. This is
blue.
good.
She likes azul. Blue. Great. Okay. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I didn't think about that.
You didn't say.
I said paint the outside blue, and he did.
But no, on the cabinets, you actually said paint them white, the uppers.
Yes, I even drew a photo that said white, blue. I wanted the upper cabinets to be white, and I wanted the lower cabinets to be navy. I had found a picture online that I really liked. I thought it would be fine. So this house is in Mid-City in Baton Rouge, which is like an artsy district.
Yeah.
There's a lot of historical homes, and you can do more bold or fun things in this area. So I wanted to. I didn't want everything to be white. So I had found that photo, and then when I went, it was too late. All the cabinets were blue, and you could not fix it because you would have, they were brand new cabinets.
You'd have to paint them like 1,000 times.
Yes, and strip them, and then they never closed the same again with that many layers. So I brought Whitney by, and we felt like it was fine.
It was fine.
It was. I actually did like it. It was a little bolder than I was going for, but again, the area is fine, and everything else was so neutral.
Yeah.
It just really worked out. So that the painting was the thing. I did not want the whole yard fenced. I don't think it needed to be fenced.
Right.
I think it would have sold even without it at the same price. Am I pleased with how it came out and looked? And
it looked good.
I am very proud of the finished product.
That's nice.
The garage was not on my list to do. It did not have sheetrock in it. It's an old garage, and so the studs were there. It was just never finished. It had never been finished. And so it looked super old compared to the rest of the house. And my contractor was like, we need to do this. That rest of the house looks, so nice. And this looks so bad. And I was like, ugh, how much? So we added him sheetrocking and finishing the garage, which I was very pleased with how it looked.
And how much? It wasn't that bad.
It was like $3,000 to really
make it nice.
Yeah, get it
cleaned up and
well.
Okay.
And then I chose to add updating the front porch.
Mm-hmm.
So we added brick herringbone to the front porch, and I replaced the columns with beams, wooden beams. We kept the original front door because I really liked it, and I couldn't find anything that kind of matched that style. So we just refinished it.
The door was great.
Yeah, I love the door.
Was the mail slot still there?
The mail slot was still there.
Okay, let's talk about when the original floor plan, when you opened the door, the mail slot then landed on this big kind of built-in cabinet that was almost like a division between the foyer and the living room, right? Mm-hmm. And you were like, this cabinet is going to go. There was wood floor underneath it.
Yes.
You got very lucky.
Very lucky.
Because you can't even tell it was there at all.
No.
Yeah, that's amazing. Okay. Tell us what the craziest thing that happened was with your contractor, because this story blows my mind. You had an inspection pre-listing.
So once it was done, we were about to list. I needed to get a punch list together for the contractor. So I had my inspector go and do an inspection, and I got the list, and it wasn't really a bad list. So I printed it out and I highlighted the items I wanted addressed, a few very minor things here and there.
Right.
And I sent it to him and said, I had an inspection. Please see the highlighted items. And then he called me the next day and said, when I'm replacing this concrete, and I was like, what?
What concrete?
What concrete? On the inspection report, cracking driveway. I'm like, no, stop what you're doing. And he sent me a picture, and half of the driveway had a big chunk busted out. And I was like, what are you doing? And so the other thing is that the house is older. The dirt had grown up, built up over. It was too high.
Over the foundation.
It's not a big deal. You don't do anything about it. It's more just like, hey, FYI, this is like this.
Yeah.
He had trenched the whole house, and we had just planted bushes, and the bushes were gone. I mean, he saved them and put them back, but I was like, oh my God. Like, the house went from being done
completely
to not done at all. And I even had people that were going to go drive by it to see if they were interested. And I had to call them and say, do not drive by.
No.
Do not go by today. It is a disaster. I asked him to put it all back. It was just.
Did he didn't charge you for those things?
He didn't.
Okay. Poor guy.
I know. I took care of him when I closed. I gave him a little bonus for good because I came out much better than I thought I was going to, and he worked super hard.
Yeah, he did.
And I think he under budgeted some things and just ate it. And so I wanted it to be
contractor.
a good. Yeah, I know. I just wanted it to be a good experience.
Yeah,
for him.
because you want to have him around.
I do.
I love that. Okay, what else do you think we need? All right, let's talk about the vintage bathrooms.
Okay.
Because a lot of people have firm opinions on a vintage bathroom, but you had to rip out both of them all the way.
One of them was well put together and preserved well, the pink one.
Mm-hmm.
The other one had a leak at some point, or something had happened, because half of the teal tile was there and then the other half of the floor was just white tile that they replaced.
It didn't
They had done
match.
a repair.
Yeah.
So it needed to go anyway, but I can promise you nobody would have wanted to shower in the tiny, tiny shower,
No.
even though it's adorable to take photos of.
Right.
And nobody would want to soak in that pink, tiny bathtub.
You got a bigger tub.
I got a big
Oh,
tub.
but wait, did he go get the wrong tub? Let's talk about the
Initially,
tub.
when I came for one of the walkthroughs, there was a super tiny tub, and this is the only tub in the whole house is in the guest bathroom. And I was like, no, this is so
Like, we gotta
small.
have
I said,
space.
I need the biggest tub
That will
can
fit.
fit in this hole. He was like, oh, okay. So he just returned it and
Perfect.
came back with a bigger tub.
I didn't know you could return a tub, but that's nice to know.
Apparently you can.
Okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we got through the fence that wasn't supposed to be there.
Right.
We fixed the concrete in the driveway. The tub was not that big of a deal. Was there anything that came up that you were like unable to fix, or kind of surprised you, or was upsetting, or anything? What were the bad things?
So I debated sharing this.
Okay.
But we did have a little incident.
Okay.
So I had ordered the appliances really early
Mm-hmm.
because everyone said appliances are so behind. You need to get them soon. And I also needed measurements for the
Right.
kitchen cabinets.
Yeah.
Well, so I had the windows. They were already done. The windows were installed. And so there's no blinds. There's no covers. You can see like right into the house. Well, the appliances arrived super early, and I was nervous about them sitting in an empty house that is just fully visible.
Especially when appliances are hard to come by right now.
Yes.
Okay.
So my contractor called me one morning very early, and he was very upset and flustered and having trouble communicating to me what exactly had happened. But someone had broken in and stolen his tools and tried to take the appliances. And it doesn't matter what part of town you live in.
Yeah.
This happens.
It happens.
It happens.
It
And I
happens.
was kind of waiting for it, knowing that the house was empty and exposed.
Yeah.
So,
But they didn't break a window. Your new fresh windows.
No, they didn't.
That would have taken.
That would have been very sad.
That would have slowed you down.
No, luckily they
broke into the door.
Yes, they went in the back door. And so they did not take any of the appliances. They tried to get the microwave and made it like to the carport, and then something must have happened because the microwave was just in the carport.
They set it down.
I guess.
Crazy.
They also left a bicycle in the carport.
How are they going to steal
I
appliances
know,
on
they're
a
trying
bicycle?
to steal an oven on a bicycle.
No, that's when they were like, maybe this isn't going to work.
Yeah, so luckily it was probably like kids or something that really didn't even know what they were doing. But I had a security system installed after that.
Okay.
And that was annoying because the sensors were loose, I guess. Apparently, when we replaced the door, my contractor took the sensor off and put them on the new door. Well, the alarm would go off at 3 in the morning, and they would call me and this and that, and I never knew what was happening. And we never had an incident again, but there were several false alarms, and I didn't know that every time you have a false alarm in Baton Rouge, it's $25. So, which I think is smart.
Yeah.
I think it's good for our police department to get that, because that wastes a lot of time when an alarm
When
goes
it's a false
off.
alarm.
Yes,
for sure.
So I ended up paying a couple of times for
Okay.
that to happen, but it was worth it because nothing ever happened again, and I felt good about it.
Okay. Hey, Alissa.
Hey, Katie.
What do we mention almost every episode?
Email templates.
You're right, we sure do. And after every time we mention an email template, do you know what we get?
Emails asking if they can have copies of the email template.
Can you send me a copy of that template? I have never had one like that. That sounds great. And you know what the good news is?
What?
You can get all of our email templates from our course, Email Templates 101. Tell the people about it.
Our course has all of the email templates you would need to send to your buyers and your sellers and your clients that are buying and selling at the same time
Exactly.
to get through every step of the transaction and giving them information that they need for where they are in the transaction.
It's great because you never forget to tell them something.
Yes, and we've already done all the work for you.
Yeah.
We wrote them and you can personalize them.
Yes.
And just feel organized knowing that you have all the information where it needs to be.
And if you purchase Email Templates 101, you do get lifetime access. So occasionally we like to go in and make updates based on the market, or if we find a new best practice, and we put that right into the template and you get that updated straight away.
It just goes straight to your course.
Yep. Right, it's just there.
It's
It's
just
already in
there.
there.
It's just
already
there.
in there. You don't even have to worry about it. We'll
That's
send
wonderful.
you an email and we'll say updated.
That's great. Where can they find these email templates?
You can find the email templates at emailtemplates101.com.
Emailtemplates101.com.
Yes, head over for reviews and all of the specifics.
Wonderful.
Okay, enjoy. Anything else you want to tell us about the finishes or making choices? Obviously, Whitney was a big help in making those selections. You went pretty neutral. You redid the floors. Anything we need to know about that?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, the sunroom was originally going to have beadboard, but that was lost in translation somewhere.
Okay.
And so it's just regular sheetrock, but I ended up thinking it was fine because
Yeah.
the sunroom has paneling anyway.
Yeah.
So it would have been
That might
too
have-
many lines.
Too many lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, and the barn door.
Yep.
So you ended up with the barn door from the master to the sunroom when it was supposed to be like a regular
Yes.
door.
Yes.
But you like most of
It was fine.
most of them were happy accidents.
Yeah. I mean, I still think a really nice door would have been better there,
Yeah.
but it worked for what we needed. And you have to stop at some point.
Okay, are you ready to tell us about listing it, choosing a price, this part?
Sure.
Okay, let's hear it.
So it was done, and I had Whitney stage it, and that really looked good because the open shelves in the kitchen, it really made the kitchen shine, and it just made the house feel very lived in. Whitney did an awesome job picking out the mirrors for the bathrooms because the master bathroom is pretty tiny, and she just got the cutest mirror that I felt like finished
It worked.
the bathroom.
Love it.
So I'm looking at numbers, and I'm really feeling like I can push the price. And I already had people like asking about it, and nobody was really flinching when I said $319.
Okay.
So I listed it on the market for $329.
Okay.
And
Let's revisit. When
okay.
you bought it, you were thinking 260s.
$269 to $279
Okay.
is what I was originally thinking.
All right. So you listed for
Yes. And so now also at this time, I have a total of $220,000
in. Okay. And you listed it for what?
I'm sorry, make that $225
$225.
in the house.
Okay.
I listed it for $329.
Okay. All right. So you got realtor commissions, obviously not on your side,
No,
right?
just
okay.
the buyer's agent.
Okay.
And so I did want to push it because I made the decision to go more because I felt like we could get more when I was seeing how well it was coming together.
Yeah.
The first couple of days, like the first 2 days, we really didn't have a lot of showings, and I was getting nervous.
Oh, you were over the top.
I was like,
nervous.
why? I feel like judged. I wasn't really nervous about the money or it not selling. More just like Alissa flipped a house and it didn't sell because she made bad choices.
Right. Oh gosh. but you didn't even make most of the choices.
No, I don't know. I just was like, well, okay, people aren't like flocking to it like they are every other house in this market. But then all of a sudden on the weekend, like all these showings started popping up, and an agent in my office called me and really wanted to see it quickly. And so Whitney showed it for her.
Okay.
She knows Whitney as well because we're all in the same office.
Right.
Her client needed to see it. She lives far away. Whitney was like, I'm in the area. I can meet him there. So she showed it. And I really think she
I think she sold it.
yeah, because
And we talked about this on
so
previous
much.
episodes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So she was familiar with the house, familiar with the changes, excited about them, invested in it. And so when she went to do the showing, it wasn't just like her seeing it for the first time like a regular buyer's
No.
agent. Oh, this house is nice. Or, oh, she knew the features and the story, and it made a difference in that showing.
Yeah, and so the guy who ended up buying it, he's a single guy from New Orleans. He pretty much lost everything in Hurricane Katrina, moved to Baton Rouge, has kind of just been wandering rentals, figuring out where he wanted to be. and was tired of it. And so he bought this for himself. It's just him and his dog. And
I love
this
it.
is where they're going to live,
2
like
bedrooms and
happily
5 for
ever
him.
after.
That's so great.
I know. It was really rewarding. And he was, I wasn't really expecting a big punch list during inspections, but there was like a few little things. And so he had his home inspection and they did not ask for anything. And I've never had that happen.
You should be really proud of that.
I know. She said there was a few minor things, but he's handy. So he was like,
whatever.
Yeah, I'm good.
That's so great.
And so I went with Whitney before closing it appraised.
Okay.
I guess we should say what price.
Yeah, please. Kate, did you get one offer, just him?
I just got his offer for $320.
Okay.
And I accepted it. Whitney was like, counter. I said,
like, no.
I'm good.
I'm taking it.
So happy. Like, I was thrilled.
Yeah.
And so I just took $320. He didn't ask me for any repairs. The appraisal came in fine. There was no hiccup with anything. And so it was just really easy. I went with Whitney the day before closing to unstage it. I hadn't been there.
Right.
In a long time.
Did you cry?
No.
You were like, bye, house.
Yeah, I was like, okay, bye.
See you later.
But I did notice that it was like kind of dirty. And so, in the backyard, while it's kind of been freezing outside, so the grass isn't growing, there were several like really high patches of weeds.
Oh, yeah.
So I called my yard guy. I was like, come cut the grass. And I called my cleaning lady. I was like, come clean the house.
Yeah.
And I just wanted it to be
nice.
Yes. Like, this is it. I'm all done. I'm closing it out.
Don't call me again.
Don't call me. So we had it all cleaned and ready for him, and we closed.
Oh, my gosh.
And
I love it.
That was that.
Okay, I have some financial questions.
I'm ready.
Okay, well, so we can all do math, but you paid commission on one side, you sold it for $320, you had $225 in. So did you ever consider taking the proceeds and doing a 1031, so investing in additional real estate?
So I actually have done a 1031 exchange before, and it is the reason I personally don't want to do one again. And here is why. It sounded like a good idea when I sold my house on Tulip Street.
Okay.
Because they were like, yeah, you can just roll all the money into something else and then you don't have to pay taxes on your gain from Tulip.
Okay.
So when I sold the Tulip house, which is the one that was the rental for a little while, and then I renovated it when they moved out. When I sold it, I took all the proceeds from that and I bought the Tennessee cabin.
Okay. And you have a time period. Like, it's not...
Yes, it has to be quick. Okay. So, I mean, I think you have like so many months to identify a property.
Got it.
And then you have X amount of time to close.
Okay.
And it has to be a similar property. So I can't go from residential to commercial or something like... And it has to be investment property.
Got it.
So for Tulip, I thought, great, I will just take all the money and put it into the cabin.
Yeah.
Well, when the real estate market really took off, I got this crazy offer for my cabin.
Right.
Which was never for sale.
Right.
And it was a real offer. Like, it was a real person that lives there that contacted me, was like, I would pay you this much for your cabin. And it was enough for me to go, well, let me look into it.
Yeah.
So I emailed my CPA and I said, hey, I just got this offer for my cabin. I just didn't know if it was legit. Can you tell me what that would look like if I decided to sell it? Mm-hmm. She said, sure. So she sent me back the numbers and she was like, the number I would get back at closing was so small. And I said, why are the taxes so high?
Yeah.
And it was like 6 figures. She said—
6-figure taxes?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
She said, because you're not only paying capital gains on your cabin, but you now owe capital gains on Tulip.
Oh, what?
So a 1031 exchange, and I knew this, but this was my first time to ever like play it through.
You have to keep the money in it.
Yes.
In real estate.
Yes.
Forever.
And I am too young, I feel.
Right.
Like, if I ever wanted to sell the cabin and not buy another real estate item with it.
Right.
I now owe, and here's my thing. You pay it now, you pay it later.
You're going to pay it.
I don't like owing.
Yeah.
I would rather just take it off my books.
Yeah.
So I don't want, like right now, I still owe money on Tulip Street.
Got it.
And one day, if I ever sell the cabin, I will have to pay it, which is fine. But I would have rather just closed it out.
And
Like like now I don't owe anything. To me, it feels like a debt that I owe that still has to be paid.
Got it.
So even if I would have, and then say you kept doing it, and this is just my brain, and maybe there's someone out there going, she's wrong about this, but I actually consulted a few people.
Okay.
Say I did sell the cabin, and then I rolled it into something else. It seems to me eventually your tax bill would get bigger than any property that you could buy would be worth.
Interesting.
Because you're going to eventually, a 1031 exchange does not prevent you from paying your taxes. It just delays it.
Got it.
Now, I heard that like if you're older and you are buying up property that you never plan to sell ever, like you plan to die and let your children inherit it, they will not owe that 1031 exchange. So it's kind of like it's forgiven if you plan to keep it forever.
Got it.
But I'm just too young to know, like, I'd rather just, with each house that I finish, I just want to pay the taxes I owe on it. So speaking of taxes, I hadn't flipped a house in a while. So I'm already like going through this. I know I'm going to have to pay taxes on it. I emailed my CPA and I said, hey, I am flipping a house right now. What do I need to budget for taxes? And he told me, well, when you are flipping a home that was never used as investment property, it was never a rental, then you owe what your current tax bracket is. Yeah. So my tax bracket was 41%, 35% federal, 6% to the state.
Got it.
So I was like, what? Okay.
That's a lot.
Yeah, like, well, this isn't going to be quite as worth it as I thought.
Right.
And so I was looking at that and taking that into consideration. And it's basically, the check you get at closing minus what you paid for the home and any expenses. And that is what they tax.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, I ended up paying like $23,000 in taxes. Yeah. Which is fine.
You still made over your like kind of threshold $30,000.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, after all of the expenses and everything, my net profit was $53,000.
It's pretty good.
I was very happy with that.
Yeah.
Where else are you going to make that?
No, that's like a whole year's salary for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So it was ultimately positive.
It was a very positive experience.
Will you do it again?
I would love to. I can't really find anything.
Yeah.
I don't know when I'll find anything. I don't really know what I want to do next. I would love to have another like vacation place that we like to go.
Right.
I don't go to the cabin because it's 12 hours away with my kids. I mean, it's like a 10, 11-hour drive. And with feasible. A 1-year-old, it's like, no, I just don't want to.
No. I
wish I could find somewhere closer that we could rent out and then we would actually enjoy using. Right. But I don't know what that would be. So I don't know. I don't know what I want to do next.
The world's your oyster.
I guess so.
So you're just going to save your money and we'll see.
Yeah. I thought about even just like not reinvesting and maybe like paying off a rental property. And because the real estate business right now is really good, but people are saying like when it's good, you also have to like be conservative because it's not going to be this way forever.
Plan.
Yeah. So just trying to be smart with it. Working on filing my taxes right now.
You're so smart.
Doing all of that. So
yeah, that's not so fun. Okay. Well, yeah, maybe we'll have another tax professional on. I really enjoyed when Karen was here.
I think we need one.
Yeah. It's always good to brush up, and we certainly didn't touch on everything.
No.
So, and it's always changing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just so glad that you now have the whole flip recorded.
Yes.
In its entirety. I think we caught all the good stories and some extras. And now they don't have to go listen to the first 10 minutes of so many episodes.
No, it's all here together for you. Oh, gosh, darn it. I meant to look this up. Someone emailed asking me a question.
Oh, well, let's get the question.
And I thought that would be a great question to answer.
Oh, good. I'm so excited.
The flip report. Oh, here it is. Okay. She said, now that you've closed on the flip house, would you say you would rather have another rent house or do another flip? I'd love to sit and chat. Let me know. Okay. My thought is the cabin for me has tainted my rental perspective.
Yeah, because you're making way more money.
Yes. And so where the cabin might bring in 5 or 6 or 7 up to 12,000 a month.
Yeah.
Depending on the month. My rentals
Or like 1,000.
are like 1,000. And if I have a mortgage on it, it's like 600.
Right.
And I'm like, gosh, it's so hard to like care about these when I could do this.
Right.
Now I've only owned the cabin for almost 3 years now.
Right.
And it has been a very good 3 years.
Yeah.
I've never been in a...
Well, you survived COVID with a rental, like a vacation rental.
That was weird, though, because I was extra lucrative during COVID.
Well.
Because people were traveling to the mountains.
They're like, oh, let's just go hang
Let's
outside.
just go to the mountains. Yeah, let's rent a cabin and go be somewhere. So, I don't know if it'll always be that way, but it has made it hard to want to take on another rental. And I always have someone say, like, when you buy another rental property, you're buying another roof.
Yeah.
You're buying another air conditioner.
Yes.
Like, you're buying another thing that does have to be maintained. Yes.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, one cabin equals 6 little houses, income-wise.
Yeah.
And so
you only have one AC, one roof.
And I like the rentals, and I think that, you know, the rentals are good for resale mostly. That, you know, if ever I wanted to, I always tell the story of the agent in my office who has several rental properties, like over 50.
Whoa.
Okay. Everything from $500 a month studio apartments to like $3,500 a month bigger homes.
Okay.
She manages them all herself. She's been a single mom her whole life.
Wow.
And her daughter just went to get married, so she put a for sale sign on 3 of them.
Paid for a wedding.
Paid for what? One of them sold. She kept the other 2.
She took the signs down on that list?
She's like, I just need to sell one. Let's see which one I can sell. Oh, that one sold. Let's take the other 2 off.
Oh my gosh.
And then used half of that money to pay for a wedding and gave the other half as a wedding gift.
I love it.
Like easy. She didn't even have to bat an eye.
Yeah.
So I think there's definitely benefit in owning homes, rentals.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would, if you were trying to live off of income, I don't think that would interest me.
Right.
I think I would like to do a flip if the margins were good, but if the numbers work for it to be, if the numbers aren't quite as good as that, then maybe but it was still a good deal, maybe it would be a good rental.
Yeah.
To get your feet
wet. Would you ever flip and rent again? Like basically do a reno and put a tenant in there?
I don't think I would ever renovate it.
Yeah. Because you did the opposite.
Yeah.
You did the renter was there, then you did the reno.
Right. That was fine. The thought of someone moving into my flip house and moving out a year later, me having to see, did they mess up the walls?
Right.
How's the cabinets? Are they dinged? Is the wood floor scratched from their furniture or their dog? Like, I don't want to do that because then you basically have to renovate it again to get it on the market. Yeah. So I really liked having the one where there were renters in place and I could just let them ride out their lease and then do it. And some things I could do while they were there. Yeah. So that was nice because it made for a really quick renovation because I could do everything outside while they lived there and it didn't bother anybody.
Right.
So yeah, I think for rentals, I'm really kind of hooked on the VRBO, Airbnb type of property right now.
I love it. Mm-hmm. Okay. Any parting thoughts?
I think that's it. I'm glad that it has concluded.
I know. Full circle.
It was a good situation. I kept waiting. I mean, I know we had like the bumps in the road.
Right.
But I kept waiting for me to feel more like, this is all. And
you're like, it's fine.
I never really felt that way.
I love it.
Mm-hmm. It was good. I really enjoyed it.
Do you want to toast somebody?
I would like to toast to Whitney.
I felt like that was necessary.
Because she really handled so much of it.
And sold the darn thing.
And I really feel like her showing it
was huge.
Well, anytime like a listing agent is present, I actually think it's a good thing. Yeah. Because they have the inside scoop on the property. Mm-hmm. They can answer the questions. Mm-hmm. Why are they moving? Oh, well, I wonder what kind of beam this is or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I think that her being able to show it and really be proud of the house made him excited and proud of the house. And
for sure.
He was able to see the value of the work that we put in. And so, Yeah, I would like to toast Whitney for
Love
getting
it.
me through the flip house. And I just remember cheers to Whitney. I remember her texting me when Angel, my contractor, removed the driveway, and she texted me, "Don't come here.
Don't come here."
And I was like, okay, great.
Oh my gosh.
Thanks.
Well,
Thanks for just handling
she did
that.
an excellent job making selections and making it run smoothly. And man, even putting the screws to the gas company when that buyer, we didn't talk about that.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
So
yeah,
quickly
this
share
is a
the
good
story of what Whitney
I had
did.
a buyer interested like the first day I listed it, but then they changed their mind when there was no gas to the house.
Right.
So Whitney was like, why did they cancel that appointment? I said, well, there's no gas to the house, and that was a deal breaker. Oh, you can get gas to a house. And I said, they said they called, and they said no. She said, I will call. So she calls, and she's on the phone, and within 10 minutes, I have an email with a reference number, who she talked to, that gas will get to the house, and that the gas company will pay for it to get to the house.
Love
and then
it.
the homeowner is responsible for getting it where you want it
In the house.
In the house.
But that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, she was like, they can have gas if they want gas. And I was like, oh my gosh.
She's such a go-getter.
She was determined. She
She's
did
like,
not
"I'm
want to
gonna
be
sell
told
this
no.
house."
Yes. And so, yeah, it was
Cheers
great.
to Whitney. That's a great lesson for everyone.
It really is.
Just make it happen.
yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so sad. Oh, and
It's over.
everybody,
No more
it's
do-do-be-do.
no more do-do-do-do-do's.
Do-do.
Do's? No.
Oh.
But you can have do-do-do-do-do forever
On your
Flip
shirt.
Report shirt.
I
So
love it.
if you want to get a Flip Report shirt, again, Kayla Fox designed this amazing shirt.
Just for fun. She was like, hey, I was
Just
just
for fun.
doodling and made this for
Yes.
y'all. And we were like, that's the
It's
cutest thing I've ever
Cutest
seen.
thing you've ever seen. It is navy blue in honor of the blue house and the blue cabinets. And you can go to hustlehumblypodcast.store and pre-order yourself a Flip Report shirt.
Awesome.
We can all be doing together.
I can't wait to wear it.
I'm so excited. Okay, bye everybody.
Bye. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Hustle Humbly podcast. Let us know who we should toast to for the next episode.
Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Hustle Humbly Podcast. If you have an episode, topic, or question, please email us at hustlehumblypodcast@gmail.com.
Be sure to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. See you next week. Bye.
This is the good life.